Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar titled The Brand Demand Connection, Your Secret One-to-One Email Marketing Weapon. My name is Kelly Lindenau, and I'm the editor of Demand Gen Report, and I'll also be your moderator today. I have a team of all-stars on the line for today's discussion, but before we get things going, I have a few housekeeping slides to touch on first. So first up is a little bit more about Demand Gen Report. We are an online media company that's geared toward B2B practitioners, and we offer a variety of resources that cover the latest sales and marketing trends. You can check out our full list of offerings on our website, which is simply demandgenreport.com. And while you're there, I'd encourage you to sign up for our weekly email newsletter so you can get all the insights we covered each week directly to your inbox. And then another component of DGR's offerings is we do 3 webinar series per year, and we actually just wrapped one a couple weeks ago, the Buyer Insights and Intelligence series. This series covered all the strategies and tools needed to uncover and engage anonymous buyers, and I'm thrilled to announce the full series is now available on demand for free. You can head over to the website now to register and unlock all 8 sessions today. And then today's session is taking place on the On24 platform, so I'd like to give you a brief overview of the controls here. So the first item I'd like to draw your attention to is our Q&A widget, which you can access at any time throughout today's discussion to submit your questions. We're planning to reserve about 5-ish minutes at the end for the Q&A, so don't be afraid to chime in. And then the second area I want to point out is our resource section. We've made a variety of resources available for you, so I encourage you to click around and check it out to see what goodies we have to offer. And then finally, I'd like to point out our survey widget, which will allow you to share feedback about today's session. It will launch automatically when we wrap up here, but you're also free to fill it out at any point throughout today's webinar. And then we are recording today's session, and we'll send over the link as soon as we wrap here. So now I have a trio of experts with me today. I have Ashley Topping, Exclaimer's Head of Marketing, Sofia Silva, Marketing Manager at ReachDesk, and EJ Oelling, the VP of ABX at 6ends. So we're just going to dive into things and, to kind of start and set the scene here, I'd love to get your thoughts on the modern demand landscape because it's definitely so different than it was even just a few years ago. So Ashley, do you want to kick us off and kind of give us your take on the evolution?
Sure. Thanks, Kelly. Yeah, I think the big thing, and a lot of you are probably really used to hearing this, I feel like right now, especially I know our CMO, Carol Halley, she talks a lot about this at our events and even at a lot of different webinars and things like that as well. But there is no demand without brand, right? And so it really starts with your brand when it comes to driving demand for businesses. And the modern demand landscape is really driven by technology and evolving customer experiences nowadays. And so here at Exclaimer, we see brand as our North Star in driving this landscape. It's more than just a tagline or a logo. It's really about the promise that you make to your customers. And so you can really do that in a number of different ways, whether it's your email signature and that brand consistency across the board. But really, if you take a step back and think about it, every marketer out there has a goal in mind, and really they're often in times in lockstep with sales, trying to drive a number at the end of the day. But it starts with brand awareness and pulling people into your funnel. And so we've got some great partners here, ReachDesk and 6ends. And so in collaboration with them, we're driving people into the funnel. It's more than just a name, right? Like we want to make them brand aware and things, and then moving them in. You're not actually driving demand until you've got people aware of your brand. And it's the promise that you make to your customers. You're building trust, and more importantly, being recognized as a trusted advisor. So that way people can really come to you as opposed to always seeking them as well.
Perfect. And now you mentioned brand, and I'd love to expand on brand building a little bit because, we have McKinsey research that shows that B2B brands with a strong reputation outperform their weaker competitors by about 20%. So Sophia, I'm going to toss this one over to you, but can you kind of put brand building into the context of demand generation and maybe discuss the connection between the two?
Yeah, of course. I think as Ashley was saying, the two of them are intertwined, right? You can have demand without your brand. And I've always been an advocate for building brands that are human and that really act as more than a corporate entity, but really on a personal level and really tie with their audience, basically. So, I think building a brand that listens to their community, that actively engages with them, that is helpful, and that really provides value is the first step to then having, more pipeline and more revenue, because it's that first engagement that you really have with the accounts that you're targeting and the people that you're reaching out to. And this, we can look at B2C really and have this example, right? We all have brands that we absolutely love and that we relate to, and that we almost feel like are not really brands, are people. And so I think bringing that concept and that approach into B2B, it's really important, because again, the more we relate to a brand, the more we listen to what this brand says, and the more that we trust them, then the more that we remind them when we need to actually, buy a product or make businesses with some software like they have. So I think, again, really important to have that brand and being human and relating with people. So then when we almost need to ask them for something, right? When we need to ask them to make business with us, they'll be a lot more prompted to, okay, I trust these people that are behind this entity, and I'm willing to, to give them a chance, basically.
And really just piggybacking on what Sofia just said, I think it's all about, honestly, they're two sides of the same coin, right? Brand and demand, even as I kind of previously said. And so, a strong brand building creates that emotional connection and establishes, again, as that trusted authority. And so, when you set the stage for demand gen, you're basically targeting people where they're at. And so really understanding that is really, really important, that one-to-one personalization tied to your brand, but also to who they are, right? And so I think that personalization experience is really, really important. It's more than just the going to LinkedIn and checking out where they went to school, right? It's meeting them exactly where they're at, understanding what their day in the life looks like, and meeting them there to really connect with them, right? And so I know my husband's in marketing too, and just yesterday he was sending an email to someone and tying in their company goals, right? And so you have to take it all the way through, not just use AI and things to tie things in all the time. So that one-to-one connection is really important to drive those two together.
Perfect. And I'd like to get just a little bit more tactical here. So Sofia, I'm going to toss this one back over to you, but do you have any sort of effective strategies for creating a brand that will ultimately drive demand?
Yeah, I think as Ashley was saying, that one-to-one side of things is really, really important. And looking at the people that you are, having conversations with and that you are targeting as actual people and not just businesses you're trying to win. So for us, it's really all across the board. It's not just a, BDR and account executive thing. Obviously, they use a lot of personalization. It's one of the cornerstones of our businesses is personalization. So they use it a lot in their outreach, in their meetings, and they really try to be thoughtful with that personalization. But it's also across the board for everything else that we do. So for example, social media, right? It's very easy to be almost very generic with social and the engagement that you have with your community there. But we always try to have almost a one-to-one approach and really focus on the person that we are talking to and having that human tone to our brand to really drive that engagement. Events, it's another strategy and another place where you can really weave in personalization, right? You can actively invite people. You can learn who are the people that are coming to your events. You can create a strategy with the team that is attending to know who are the exact people, how can you personalize that experience for them, what do they care about, what stage of the funnel they are in. Because if you have customers versus people that haven't yet made business with you versus people that have open opportunities with you, the strategy that you're going to take for each of them is different, and the conversations that you want to have with each of them is different as well. So I think all across, and obviously then ending it or wrapping it up with ABM, right? For us, it's like I was saying, it's not even a marketing strategy anymore. It's really almost like an account-based everything type of approach, and we really try to look at the accounts and the people that make up those accounts as people, and doing everything with these one-to-one and highly personalized lens.
Can I join the personalization party for a second?
Yeah. Go for it.
Perfect. I'm going to hop in. So one-to-one, we really look at it from a data perspective at Sixth Sense. We look at intent signals and behavioral indicators and all that, and that helps drive that conversation. So if you look at where people are in their buyer's journey, in the beginning, it's all about brand. It's like, how is your brand going to connect with them? But we see as they move down the journey and they get closer to what we would call decision and purchase, they're a qualified account for us. So then we know, based on the data, like how much money are we going to put into connecting with our audience? What do they want to connect about? We can look, within our platform, which we connect obviously with Exclaimer and Reach Desk with as well, is we can see actually what they're looking at, like what keywords are they interested in? What type of content are they looking at on your website? So we're able to use all of that information, which at the end of the day, 10 years ago, it would have been great to look at a crystal ball and see all this, right? So I think we're able to look at all that data and really drive personalized one-to-one or one-to-few interactions, because people want to know that you're listening to them. People don't want to look at all this data and figure out what to choose. So by using personalization and one-to-one tactics, we're really able to hone in on the correct audience. And I think that's, from a budget perspective, is also super important. It's for companies to be able to drive their budget to the right people at the right time, because otherwise you're wasting money in different places. And so when we do our one-to-one, not only are we targeting accounts at the top of funnel from a lead gen, so we know that based on data and information who we're going to be targeting, but also we use one-to-one as an accelerant. So it's a, hey, how do we get to the finish line together? And we partner with sales and our BDRs and our customer success team, and we really work in that team approach to help drive everyone to the goal at the end.
I love that, EJ. And it's funny you say that. The partnership with sales, I think, is incredibly important, especially in an ABM or ABX motion. And utilizing intent data and things is really critical to the success of that partnership with sales. We often use that to identify triggers and things. I mean, at Exclaimer, every single person that has an email address is part of our TAM, if you will, which is awesome, but also frightening, because we don't have unlimited funds or budget, unfortunately. So that being said, really utilizing that data to help drive where we need to focus and prioritize alongside sales and things helps us know how to focus and really move things through the funnel. Marketing's doing a lot of different tactics. We're doing things like webinars, attending trade shows and events, and moving a lot of leads into the top of the funnel. And it's those motions that help us move leads through the funnel and create opportunities. But we're using data to help make those decisions. And I think that part is a key component to it. Otherwise, we're literally wasting money, as you said.
Awesome. And I love that we're already teeing up the one-to-one personalization, because that's a perfect little transition into my next question for you ladies, which is, we mentioned one-to-one personalization. It's the new normal in B2B marketing. And, amidst budget cuts and a quickly evolving digital world and changing buyer behaviors, we have research that shows 86% of B2B marketers are turning to this personalized one-to-one marketing, specifically one-to-one email communications. So EJ, can you walk us through what role it plays in modern strategies?
Absolutely. It's key. I mean, we all get so many emails. We all get so many LinkedIn messages and all this. So how do you prioritize who you want to talk to at the right time? But if you're using the right data and you're using the right messaging and you're targeting the right audience at the right time, that is your sweet spot to be in, So we use a lot of, especially with some of the larger accounts, when we're looking at different personas, how do you take the same type of information and then personalize it based on persona? How do you take the same information and maybe personalize it based on the title or geographical location of where everybody's sitting? I think that is key. Again, partnering with sales at the right time to figure out what accounts are the right accounts you should be hitting as well. So I think personalization is not only to your audience, but but also personalizing your list to make sure that you have the right accounts that are in the right stage to help that journey. Again, we're all trying to get these leads. So we try to move from that anonymous buyer into who is the targeted buyer that we should be talking to at that time. I could go on and on.
Yeah, I think I could chime in there because we also use obviously data. It's, as you were saying, it's really important, and those signals, right, from 6 Sense, for example, that really tells our account executives, our BDRs, this is the sweet spot time for you to reach out to this person. And we have an internal rule or internal approach, which is the 3x3, which is basically researching 3 things about the people that they are, sending an email to within 3 minutes. So it really helps to be really targeted and focused on what is the thing that this person cares about, and then including that in the communications that they are sending out. We even have like this internal channel in which our BDRs and our account executives share some responses that they get to these very personalized communications. And as EJ was saying, we get so many emails on a daily basis that when we get something different, we were like, whoa, okay, this is interesting. Let me dive a little bit into it. So a lot of the responses are, giving kudos to the team for taking that step and personalizing it, or saying, I usually don't open emails, but your subject line in your email caught my eye, so I clicked on it and decided to learn more. So I think having that targeted approach, knowing when to reach out, knowing who you're reaching out to and what to say, it's key, and it makes the whole difference in achieving your goals and getting what you want, basically.
I love that. And even to take it a step further, at Exclaimer, we utilize all of that data, but even, we've recently launched our Salesforce integration. And so basically, if you have a field in Salesforce, you can segment anything, slice and dice, build your list, and really basically run your content syndication programs in ABM through your email signature. And so basically, let's just tie all the great content that we're creating, but the right content at the right time to the audience that you're sending to. And so whether it's vertical specific or persona specific rather, or the stage in the buyer's journey, or all of the above, right? And so that's the great thing about utilizing those insights to help specialize the information that you're serving your prospects or your customers and things. And even taking it a step further is allowing them to provide feedback too. And I think that that's a really important component to all of this too, is understanding who it is that you're sending to, but also getting that feedback loop in as well, especially on the customer side, right? You can even serve up, if they're happy, serve up a review on G2, right? That social proof is incredibly important.
So now I'd like to stay on this topic of ABM, ABX for a little bit, because I know we're all kind of guilty of using the 2 terms interchangeably. So EJ, as our resident VP of ABX, can you kind of expand on the evolution there?
Absolutely. I mean, I only clearly have letters in my name, EJ, VP, ABX. So, we're very classy over here. But I think ABM is a term that has been around a long time, and I think what's old, you make new again. And I think that's the iteration of ABX. I think account-based experience is important. We're now, I think, in this post-COVID era where we're looking at a lot of event-led growth that comes out of it that has an experience tied to it. Campaigns have a different type of experience to it. Gifting and personalization, that's the experience. It kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. My whole mantra for ABX is data plus experience equals pipeline. That's ultimately what we need at the end of the day. I want to know that I have the right data and I have the right data set and the right audience I'm looking for. By knowing who the audience is, it's going to drive what type of experience I want to offer them. So is that a VP experience? Is it a gifting experience? Is it a one-to-one, executive meetup? Whatever that experience might be, it ultimately needs to drive to revenue and pipeline. And so when we talk about how we're doing account-based approach, we want to make sure that in some regards, there is an experience tied to it that's going to help your go-to-market motion. that was a lot of words to just say that we like to take account-based experience and add a little fun to it in the end. That's the way we look at it at 6 Sense.
Awesome. So let's now kind of just bring this full circle here. We're going to come back to one-to-one personalization. So Sophia, do you mind kicking off a little discussion about the role that one-to-one personalization plays in ABM strategies?
Yeah, of course. So I think the biggest thing here, and it's exactly what was just said, is that ABM, it's not only about, ads as some people sometimes like to place it. It's all about the experience, right? That's why I also like the ABX kind of acronym, or the ABE, which is like account-based everything type of thing, because there's so many different channels and strategies that you can employ that one-to-one personalization and ABM lens into. And that's, I think, it's where it really starts impacting and you really start seeing results, other than just doing some ads, putting some logos in those ads and sending them on their way. So I think for us at Reach, that's exactly what we do. Our approach to ABM and obviously one-to-one personalization is really part of it, and it's really, especially on the one-to-one ABM side, it's what makes it all fun and personalized and impactful. And so for us, it's a lot more than just personalized ads that have a company logo in them, for example. We tie this with everything. So we have one-to-one landing pages for specific accounts. There are specific points in their journey that we know that when they are good candidates for these types of experiences, then obviously we empower and enable our account executives and our business development reps to also have personalized messaging that ties with the information that we are trying to convey. And it's almost like a two-way relationship. We provide them with information and we enable them with the materials, but none of the things that we do from a one-to-one perspective, we do without them. So they are the ones that inform us of, these are the pain points of these accounts, these are the blockers that I'm having, these are the struggles that they're experiencing with their current provider or with their current solution. And so we really use that then to fuel our content, and then to provide that content again, obviously, to our team. And then also events play a part, right? Because you can really have, even if you're hosting a big event or a big keynote session, you can still have that one-to-one personalization weaved into it, and you can still almost flag who the people that you want to reach out are, and how you can develop that relationship with the experience through the event. And then, of course, we're a gifting platform, so gifting plays a huge role in here as well. And this is kind of the playbook that we follow, right? We have very limited resources, but we always try to have these approach of, we have these accounts that we want to target. We know what is the best stage in which we want to do these activities for them. And then we have all of these strategies that are intertwined with each other, and that really produce a lot of impact. And they're all based on that one-to-one human personalization.
I think I totally agree with everything, Sophia, you just said. And I think when we think about building out like an integrated campaign, for example, against that personalization strategy and intertwining that ABM approach to it, we look at that experience or the buyer's journey that we want to guide them through. And so if it is an ad to start with, right, like a lot of times, even I think about my own buying experience, a lot of times I might get an email, for example, or see an ad on Google, and a lot of times they may click in either one, or I might send the email to my team. We do a lot of research, right, before we ever pick up the phone or before we ever fill out a form. I've done this a number of times, right? And so what experience is it that we want to drive and or deliver to our prospects and our customers? And you think about even like on an ad, when they hit your website, what page are they going to? Is it relatable? Is it tying into who they are as a person, the persona, their vertical, so on and so forth? What experience do you want to pop in a chat bot? Have a salesperson immediately respond to them, and really just think through that experience, test against it, right? Like there's so much opportunity to really serve a one-to-one experience for for your prospects and your customers, your entire buyer's journey and things. And so when you look at the modern tech stack for marketers, I think that that's a really key component as well. And so, and that tech stack is evolving and changing and things. And so it's important to often do evaluations of that tech stack as well. And I know even our friends at Insight, they're often, recommending or saying like, hey, be evaluating that on a yearly basis. Don't be signing contracts for more than a year because the tech stack's changing so much. And so I know that we're doing that on a very frequent basis here at Exclaimer.
I mean, we're all speaking my love language here because we're discussing ABX, but I would say it's a team sport at the end. So just remember that, like ABX, you're not doing it alone. And when you're doing one-on-one, it doesn't necessarily mean one account. You could do one to few, that's a way where you can expand that approach. But I do agree, it's a journey that you take your prospects on. It's a journey you're taking your customers on. And that would be the only thing that I would add in the end. I agree with both. What both ladies said before. So I just think when you look at the campaign that you're going to have, think about all those moments. Every moment counts in their ABX journey to ultimately get the account turned. So you're not in it alone. Think about how you're partnering with your sales team. Think about how you're partnering with your customer success team. Think about how you as a marketer is partnering with other parts of marketing. You know what I mean? Because I think you have your demand gen, you have your MOPS, you have your brand awareness, you have your go-to-market. That in itself is a big team that you're working with too, just to even get this off the ground. So you're not in it alone. It is a marathon. It is not a sprint, but in the end, the rewards are huge.
All right, awesome, ladies. Thank you all so much for sharing those insights with us. So we obviously have some good audience questions. We're kind of coming up on time, but I do want to grab one that I think will be really good for everyone. So that one is, someone is wondering, and it's to the group, do you guys have real world examples that speak to the power of one-to-one email personalization? And I guess, Sophia, let's start with you on that one.
Yeah, I think I can start here. I think, as I mentioned, one of obviously the channels that our team mostly uses is email. And they always try to have this lens. So one example is really this one-to-one communication that they do before and after meetings. So they always try to be very active listeners and targeted into their approach. And so, for example, is during the meeting, someone mentions that they just came back from holiday, or someone mentions that they are going on holiday, or that they were sick. So anything about their current context in their personal life. After the meeting, our team obviously sends a follow-up email communication. They always try to grab that small detail that the buyer shared and include a gift related with it. So for example, if someone is going on vacation and they have to go to the airport, our team might send an Uber voucher for them not to have to pay or go by transport to the airport. Or if they just came back from holiday, they might get a little holiday bundle to kind of, make them not feel so sad about coming back to work. So that's something that our team always tries to do. And then obviously, as I was mentioning, within our own ABM strategy, we obviously have those communications that we send out. And just recently, we did this one campaign for an account that we were trying to really get to the finish line. And then it was their 100th year birthday that they kind of were born. And so obviously we had a landing page. We obviously had a very personalized messaging from our account executive. And then for us at Reach Desk, another type of email communication that we have is the one that ties with our gifts that we send, right? So we also have an email that was sent out with a special gift for them that was basically a celebration of their 100th year anniversary. And so the reaction of this whole experience that we built for them was really, really positive, and we managed to get that to the finish line. So it's just one example to show that if you put there that one-to-one approach to all the communication that you do, not just email, of course, but the communication that you send to your buyers, it has impact in your finish line as well.
I think one of the examples here at Exclaimer that I love is that we have done a number of different things, of course, but working alongside our sales friends, especially once you get leads or opportunities into the funnel, sometimes they can get stuck, right? And so even piggybacking off of Sophia, what you said, we listen a lot, and we've got technology that also helps us listen and record and spit out trends and insights and things too. But a lot of times what we'll do is we'll take those insights and help create a custom signature for the prospect so that they can, not only see real life, but think, okay, this is actually how I can utilize Exclaimer and truly like picture that day in the life for that customer. And so same thing, actually, 100-year anniversary, for example, creating a custom landing page, that one-to-one experience of through their own buyer's journey and or their customer journey. A lot of these companies, especially enterprise companies, have shared services and things. And so it's a lot more complicated. And so we can help guide them through their own journey as well. And so I think it's where you showcase that you're spending that one-to-one time with them, and you're listening, and it drives a lot of impact for our buyers. We're seeing it accelerate the sales process. We're utilizing our intent signals too, tying in G2 data alongside 6 Sense data and things, even referring back to that tech stack, and then tying in e-gifting a lot of times too, of like, hey, I know you've got 4 kids and dinner's on me tonight, looking forward to XYZ and things. And so I think it's just like that human touch, that personalization, the showing you care, and things too, that really goes a long way and drives that personal trust as well, which is really important.
I have very similar examples as well, but I would say on the follow-up from an event, I think we use personalization. We no longer do the thank you for coming or sorry we missed you emails when we go to an event. We really want to make them more thought leadership-y. And so when we do follow-up, we will look at the accounts that have attended with us, and we will really personalize the message to them based on who they met with, what their pain points were, what we know that they learned at the conference with us, and really do specific, whether it's a landing page, whether it's specific content that gets sent to them, and really changing the voice. And we do this for obviously a selected group of accounts. We don't do it for every single person, but we do that personalization to help move that conversation forward. So we'll say, we'll do a persona-based kind of conversation with them, and then that will then lead to what's the follow-up meeting, which will then help move it down the pipe. So we'll do that often a lot with a lot of our top target ICP accounts, because we really want to see how they're going to move in the funnel.
Awesome. So that is unfortunately a wrap on our discussion today. But to all of our attendees, I'd like to remind you all once again to please take our little survey before signing off today, because again, we do use this information to determine what's working and what's not, and your feedback is so important to us. And also, if we did not get to your question, don't worry, we will send follow-up answers via email to anything that was submitted. And speaking of email, my team's already working on getting the recording over to your inbox as we speak. So ladies, thank you all so much for that discussion. It was awesome. And to our audience, thank you all so much for tuning in today. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.
Amazing. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.